Welcome to the Psychology of Religion. I'm going to be recording a little bit of information for everybody about the course here. Okay, so the Psychology of Religion is a great class, and I think we're going to really enjoy it. Just a little introduction of me for the class. Most of you know me, but I am Dr. Ripley, and I've been a professor at Regent since 1999. I'm the Hughes Endowed Chair of Integration for the last few years, and I live in Virginia Beach, just a few miles from campus. Academically, I've done books and articles, and particularly on couples and religion, so I'm kind of part of a particular niche within psychology of religion that studies couples and families. I've received grants and awards and the co-director of the Caris Institute. If you don't know the Caris Institute, it's a wonderful project that we have going on, lots of outreach there. And I've done service within APA and CAPS. I'm an APA fellow. I graduated from Virginia Commonwealth University with my master's and doctorate, and I got my bachelor's at Nyack College. I have taught most areas of psychology now across the years, and I particularly enjoy this class. I've been married since 1993. I have two children who were born in 2001 and 2003. So I have one mother, one mother-in-law, three brothers, six sisters-in-laws, two brothers-in-laws, six nieces, and seven nephews. So there's a large family that I'm very involved with. My faith, we'll be talking a lot about our faith this semester, and in my faith, I was saved in an evangelical kind of way at age 4. My first memory actually is of crawling behind the couch and accepting Jesus in my heart, as my Sunday school teacher had encouraged me to do, but in characteristic to me, I did not do it that day. During class in Sunday school, I went home and did it by myself. So I'm at least the 7th generation Christian in my family. I would say that I would adopt the descriptive terms of my faith as charismatic, evangelical, contemplative. All of those things characterize my faith life. I enjoy all kinds of things. Renovare is a group that I've been a part of and done their book club and listened to their podcasts a lot. Some of the more ancient or Catholic practices of solitude and silence is something that's been part of my life since the beginning, or a little before the pandemic, actually. I'm very serious about Sabbath and treating it as a holy separate time where time gets to slow down and I get to do different things. And I am still working on memorizing the Psalms through song right now. So this course is all about the psychology of religion, and that is really what we're doing. And one of the more interesting things about that is that science and religion in American culture particularly have not worked very well together. And Francis Collins, who is a leader in science and particularly DNA research, he's one of the originators of the DNA sequencing, and he has been the head of NIH for many years, just retired as of this recording. And he's also a Christian, as an adult convert. And he says one of the greatest tragedies of our time is this impression that has been created that science and religion have to be at war. And it's really been his mission in life for those two things to be friends with each other, right? To dance together. And that is also my mission. So the Psychology of Religion course that we're endeavoring in this semester answers a lot of really interesting questions. These include things like, do children understand God? And if so, how? What predicts a conversion for someone to lose their faith or transform in faith? How do our brains perceive God and the divine, right? Experiences of the divine. How do we connect to other believers to create communities of faith? And when do those communities break down and disaffiliate? How do cults recruit people and retain them? What about religion that helps us cope with the stresses of life? And when does it add to the stresses of our lives? What are the biological, cognitive, and psychological factors at play when people have spiritual experiences? And how can religion be useful in psychological recovery for those that struggle with clinical disorders? So all of these questions we will be spending time with this summer, and I think you'll enjoy that. But I do want to make sure that you're clear that Psychology of Religion is not a theology class and it's not built to be a religious experience. We are going to be reviewing the body of research literature in the Psychology of Religion. So it's the utilization of scientific principles and methods of observation to try to understand spiritual and religious experiences and identities and brains and all of that. So this area of psychology is created by hundreds of researchers. There are some really excellent experts. You'll get to hear some of them in the podcast this summer, which are part of this class. But if you're hoping for a class that will prove there is a God, or give you some kind of church religious experience, or only give your Christian perspective, or only review research that fits with your particular Christian hermeneutic, please adjust your expectations now. Right? I encourage you to go to a church for a religious experience, to read apologetics books for discussions about evidence for God, or to read things that support your Christian hermeneutic. That is fine. This class, however, is going to present some really different things and some things that are quite challenging for people who are traditionally religious like me. So, but if you're firm in your own convictions or differentiated, which is a theme of this semester, and you like to learn from interesting research that has been done, and it will challenge you to think differently about religion broadly, if you can be curious and you can be confident and not anxious about your identity, but curiously learn from the psychology of religion, then I think this is going to be a really great ride. So, how to get a good grade? Of course, the most important question. 1, make sure you get that syllabus and download the file and put all the dates into your calendar. Do come to class and stay present. Because of a couple of absences, it's going to only be 6 meetings, so we're not going to have a lot of time in the room together. So let's make the most of what we do have and really get a chance to enjoy each other in that time. You do get points for turning in your reading notes, particularly this is a hybrid class. So in a hybrid class, we are going to meet for half the amount of time that we would meet if it was a fully in-person class. So reading is a big part of your learning. You'll want to note on the syllabus when your reading notes are due, hint, hint, before class each week, except for week 1. And week 4. Participate in the discussion board discussion. Those are also due before class, or there's a couple of deadlines on those, actually first post and second post, so make sure you look at the syllabus about that and get those dates on your calendar. And then you're going to pick an article and do a nice presentation to the class, brief 10-minute presentation about the article, so we all get to learn together that way. These are the learning components. So this kind of gives you a mental map of my philosophy of learning in this class, essentially. We're going to have a lot of interactive peer-based learning, which makes sense at the doctoral level. So in the classroom, we'll be doing peer-based learning as we discuss things together, and the discussion posts as well. You'll learn from each other. Notice that there are 7 posts worth 50 points apiece for a total of 350 points. You can do a second, an additional 8th post, or you can skip the final one and still get potentially 100% on that. And if you've ever taken my classes with discussion board before, you'll know I'm not particularly tough on the grading on these, but I do expect them to be complete in order to get full points. Then you're going to present an article in class that's worth 50 points. You're going to turn in your reading notes. Each chapter that you read is worth 5 points, right? And so the 20 chapters, there's actually 21 chapters reading, so you can skip one of the chapters and still get 100%. You can skip 2 chapters and still get 95%. So make your choices there, how you like to do that. If you are attending class online, so this is just if you get sick one week in accordance with the university policies about being sick and attending online, make sure you communicate with me about that. And then the first week of the semester, which is completely online, I will be asking people to turn in their notes as a to count as attendance that first week. So just be aware of that. And then you have 2 short papers, right? These are only 1,500 or 1,000 word papers, so they're very short. One is a conversion interview that you'll go and interview somebody, and one is a mystical experience paper where you will analyze a mystical experience either from yourself or someone else. Okay? So that's the class, 600 points total. In the discussion board, your original post is due Wednesdays by the end of the day, and your response post is due Saturday by the end of the day. 50 points apiece. See the syllabus, but further expectations on this. What's going to happen because we are a hybrid class, essentially we do live class on Monday, and then during the week, you're expected to listen to a podcast or watch a video with different leaders in the field of psychology of religion discussing and presenting a topic or area. Most of those are about 45 to 60 minutes, so plan accordingly. I created a Spotify list of all the podcasts that were there, although there are a few that are YouTubes. So the intention, and particularly in the summer, is you could be listening to this while you're driving or while you are taking a walk or cooking dinner or something like that, and still be learning at the same time. So it's up to you how you want to do that, but that is part of the course. And then there's video lectures and reading notes, so make sure the chapter readings are really clear, the weekly notes. The only video lectures that you're expected to turn in are for notes when I'm absent, and we haven't had class in person. But when you do notes for your readings, please make sure you have very clear headings. I would really strongly encourage and appreciate if you can highlight the headings of the chapter in yellow or something similar, so that when they are reviewed, it's really clear which chapter goes with which notes, so we don't mistake and think that you didn't review a chapter when you actually did. If you prefer to do handwritten notes, that's fine. Just make sure you use a scanner or use like a cam scanner app or something on a phone, and also make sure you kind of circle or highlighter or some kind of way to make sure that those headings, this is chapter 1, this is chapter 2, are really clear. Okay. We have a teaching assistant in the class, Hannah Daniel, and will be helping. She is going to be doing the notes check each week. So if something seems off in the grading of any of your notes that you turn in from the readings, make sure you email both her and me so that we can go in and check and see if we made a mistake in some way. The papers, I think these are really interesting, but you do have to kind of think ahead. For the conversion paper, you'll be interviewing someone who has converted or deconverted from a religion or a particular religious identity. How far can that be? People always ask. It's nice if it's something that most anyone would understand as a change in religious identity of some sort, convert, deconvert. So it would be going from being, Buddhist to Christian, or going from being Catholic to atheist, or something like that. People who are particularly close to you is actually not a good idea. Most of the time when you interview people like that, they have a hard time taking the role of interviewee while you take a more professional role of interviewer, and you end up kind of having trouble. So my expectation is you'll choose who you interview. It's up to you. You find your own person, but you might look around for someone that's not particularly close to you, but they could be someone you know. That's fine. It's not like doing, probes and such where you don't want to, test and do clinical skills on someone you know. This is a little different than that. There are some very specific objectives to cover, so you make sure you look in the syllabus. It's kind of broken down into 4 sections for this short 1,500-word paper, and it's due in week 6. In week 7, you'll be turning in a mystical experience paper. So it could include discussion of someone with mystical experience. It could be your own mystical experience if you've had that happen to you. But you'll be using the theory and the model that's in your textbook and we cover in class, and try to apply that model to the mystical experience that's being described for the paper. So again, a little more information about that is in the syllabus. When you present your article in class, we have them broken down every week. There'll be about 3 or 4 of those happening. And so you'll present it to the class. Every once in a while, it may say gypsy in here because this has been a cross-listed class. So sorry, that's still there. This summer, we are PsyD only. We're not cross-listed this summer. But discuss all parts of the article and how it fits into the topic relevant to your textbook, right? So that's kind of your goal. If you look in week 1 in Blackboard, you will see a way to sign up for an article. The due dates vary throughout the week, so you pick the week that you would like to present. And this is worth 50 points. Pay attention to week 1 because I am absent this year in week 1, which is why you're watching this video. And in week 4, where our class happens to fall on Memorial Day. So I wasn't going to have a full makeup of the missed week for Memorial Day. But there's still some activity to do that week for the class. And then week 8 being the final week of the semester, things kind of shift a little bit there too. So there's still discussion board all 8 weeks. And while we don't meet week 4, there are assignments to do. I did adjust the due date so we wouldn't have things due on Memorial Day for the class, which neither you nor I would like to have happen. So just make sure that you pay attention to the due dates on that week 4. In this week of week 1, where you're watching this, I am allowing all of the assignments to come in at the end of the week because it's week 1 and people can add and drop the class during week 1. So I want to make all the assignments due, Saturday midnight. But in the future, everything is due either before class or you have discussion board by Wednesday and response post by Saturday. So you'll notice that when things start up like normal in week 2, you could potentially be working on week 1 and Saturday, but then still have things due on Monday morning by 8 a.m. for week 2, right? So pay close attention to that, whether you've signed up for a presentation or whether you have your notes for reading, that sort of thing. The idea is I want you guys to come to class having already done the reading so that we can have more informed and meaningful discussion about the topics at hand. The last week of the semester, it's pretty normal due dates for both the discussion, but there's not really extra reading in the final week of the semester. My late assignment policy is people always want, generally I don't accept late work. However, if you anticipate being unable to make a deadline due to justifiable reasons, please contact me as soon as possible. Particularly an 8-week course, things move very quickly, so anything that's late really doesn't have a lot of runway left to catch up. I'll grant requests for extensions at my discretion, and I'm guided by the nature of the excuse. If it's an isolated incident and it's unusual, or if the event that's causing the lateness is a kind of a catastrophic or major event in the person's life. The feasibility of the student completing all required activity prior to the end of the course should be taken into account, right? I cannot move the grade due date at the end of the semester, which is always just a couple days after the last week, right? So week 8, I believe actually grades might be due July 4th or 5th for us. So it's very fast and there's not a lot of runway there. So do be aware. If you just, because of not extraordinary circumstances, but just in life, you're late on turning something in, there's a 10% penalty for that per day. And just being aware I have to turn in stuff. So really nothing can be turned in after Friday of the 8th week of the semester. There's no time left for me to finish grading. If you have disability and that is registered at the disability office, make sure your information sheet from that office gets to me as soon as possible. I am a strong advocate for accommodations for anyone with a disability and am more than happy to provide all that I can. I want to measure ability, not disability, but I am not allowed to do anything for you without that form. That's university policy, and it actually is some kind of law relevant to that. So I know it's summer. There might be your cousin's wedding. There might be some kind of special vacation opportunity. There might be something that happens. We only meet 6 times, so you really can only miss 1 class in this summer and still be considered in full attendance. So talk to me about any trips or anything that might affect your ability to be in classes. And I will work with you as much as I can. But again, an 8-week semester just doesn't leave us a lot of room for more than 1 miss in class. So if you have questions to ask me, please send me emails. If you are listening to this in the first week of the summer semester, I am out of the country during this week, so I will not be accessing emails. In fact, I won't be back in the country until Sunday. So probably things are going to be delayed that week, okay? Just be aware. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys and all that you are and do in the program.